Good morning, beloved community of faith. How are you all doing this morning? Good. There's a part of me that's just really tempted for us all just to sit down and just have a talk. To share each other's trials and how those have formed us and shaped us and transformed us into exactly who God calls us to be. So instead of slides this morning, I want you to think of those things. Think about an event or events that was your spiritual mountain to climb or your life mountain to climb. And think about what happened on the other side. Have these pictures in your mind. The climb up the hill. Maybe the paralyzing reality. The saving grace. And the transformation that has made you exactly who God intended and wants and is calling you to be. So today we're going mountain climbing. It promises to be a journey of resilience, transformation, and a climb towards a higher understanding of ourselves and our faith. Mountain climbing is never easy. The path is steep, the terrain is tough, and the climb demands strength, courage, and endurance. Yet, like all great journeys, the reward is worth every single step. Please trust me and believe me when I say that you will get through this, whatever this is, whatever that mountain is. Please trust me. Actually, you know what? Don't trust me. Trust God. Trust God. If we trust God, this too shall pass. So the story of the Transfiguration is where Jesus and the three disciples climb a mountain and they witness an extraordinary moment of divine revelation. But there's more to the story than just a glorious mountain at the top. The journey itself is what shapes them and us as we climb towards something greater. This really is a story of resilience. Climbing a mountain is hard work. I'll never forget climbing Mount Washington so that we could ski Tuckerman Ravine. We had it all planned out and mapped out according to time, okay? We were going to climb, get there at this time, have a 15-minute snack, and then do our amazing skiing. We were so exhausted. Some of you are grinning ear to ear and nodding your heads because you've been there and done that, okay? We had to have a 2-hour-long meal because 4 Division I top peak physical shape athletes, and our legs were shaking from the journey up. Up there, the air grows thinner. The climb gets steeper, and the obstacles get tougher. And with each and every one of those legitimate dangers, the experience and the views get better and better. But in the Gospels, it's almost too easy. We read that Jesus decided to go up the mountaintop to pray, and the disciples followed him. That's all we know. But what if there's something more? Matter of fact, I'll say, I think there is something more. What if the climb was not smooth and effortless? What if it was difficult and grueling? After all, they didn't just levitate to the top. If they did, they would have said that, right? They were trekking, physically climbing, and that matters. The gospel doesn't focus on the struggle, but it's there. It's between the words. And Jesus' choice of a mountain is not random. As Stephen pointed out this morning as he wrapped up the Revelation study that we were doing in Adult Ed, mountains are often a part, particularly in the Old Testament. Okay? Mountains offer a perspective, a view of the bigger picture. When you climb a mountain, your surroundings change, and you begin to see things in a new and different way. For the disciples, the mountain wasn't just about the climb. It was about the vision that would change their future and their entire understanding of Jesus. And you know what? They knew it. When Jesus said, let's climb up this mountain, they had Moses and the Ten Commandments and the burning bush and all the other figures that climbed up mountains in their minds. They knew this was maybe it. And as they reach the top, something extraordinary does, in fact, happen. Jesus is transfigured before them. His appearance changes, his face shining like the sun. In this moment, they see Jesus not just as a teacher and a healer, but as the radiant Son of God. Moses and Elijah appear. You see what they're holding there? They're holding the Ten Commandments and bread to feed the poor people who are exiled or going through a tough time. Moses and Elijah appear standing with him as a sign of fulfillment of the law and the prophets. This is a moment of glory, but it's also a moment of foreshadowing. The glory they witness here points to something greater, just as your struggles will point to something greater that comes after another very difficult journey to Jerusalem. But here's the thing. This incredible revelation comes only after a long, difficult climb. The mountaintop moment of transfiguration is preceded by an arduous journey. The glory of the witness, the glimpse of what is to come, always comes after a difficult, challenging, struggling time. But it always comes with challenge and effort. Peter, overwhelmed by the glory, suggests building tents there. It's understandable, right? We want to stay in this divine moment. But Jesus knows that the real work lies ahead, not on the mountain, but in the valleys below, in the lives of people who need what Elijah is offering. They need healing. They need redemption. The glory of the mountain is not the end of the story. It's not the end of the challenge. It's not the end of the hard work. It is just the beginning of the challenge. It's the beginning of the journey. It's the beginning of the hard work. The disciples want to remain in that holy moment. But Jesus calls them back to the work they must do. And that's the message for us. The transfiguration doesn't last forever. It's a feeling. It's a moment. and it shapes what follows. We cannot stay on the mountain forever. The real challenge lives in living out the transformation we are experiencing, bringing that vision of that moment to the glory of the world below. We all face mountains in life. Some are literal, but most are metaphorical. Struggles, challenges, moments of doubt, and of real despair. And the climb is tough. But like the disciples, we are invited to the mountaintop, to those moments of divine revelation, to the glimpses of something greater than ourselves. But we have to be willing to make the climb. Resilience is not just about enduring hardship. And truth is, this is where I struggle. It's about staying awake, staying alert, and pushing through. For me, it's pushing through the mundane. Weeks like this last, when we had this huge funeral, lots of things to do. I thrive in that environment. My adrenaline gets pumping, and I love it. What gets me is the grind, the day-to-day, in and out, when there's not the mountaintop experience. It's about understanding that the climb is part of the transformation. The mountain is not just a destination, it's the journey that shapes us along the way. And sometimes we get tired. Truth is, this morning, I didn't want to go to work. I was exhausted. Truth is, last night, when I did my normal Saturday night routine, toothpicks. When I got in this morning and I did my grounding, my centering, my breath work, and I read what I had prepared earlier in the week, light bulb, come down off the mountaintop. That journey forms and shapes us. The disciples, too, got weary on the mountaintop, and they fell asleep. But Jesus calls us to wake up. Stay awake for the work of God. And when we're tired, even when we feel like we can't go on, even when we get up in the morning, we say, I really don't want to go to church today. That's when we go. The journey may be long, but the destination is worth it. I got more out of these worship services this morning than I've gotten out of the last month, because of what God does through them. So what does this mean for us today? It means that our faith journeys are filled with challenges. Each step forward, no matter how difficult, brings us closer and closer and closer to transformation. Like the disciples, we are called to climb, to face difficulties, to endure hardships, to trust that the view at the top will be worth it, and the view down below will be divine. The Transfiguration offers us a glimpse of what is possible when we endure. It shows us that even in the midst of suffering, there is glory, that the struggles we face on our journey will ultimately lead to something greater. Friends, as you face your mountains, I encourage you to keep climbing. Know that every step is shaping you, transforming you, and leading you towards something greater. And remember that just as the disciples' journey up the mountain led to a moment of divine revelation, your climb too will lead to moments of transformation. So keep going. Keep climbing. The view at the top is worth it because it prepares for the view down below to be divine. Amen? Amen.